Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is Monday the 26th and we're back over here in my mass processing area. So just gotta start with what I got done over the weekend. I will friendly reminder where I finished off was setting up this whole milling area. I didn't touch this. This has been working great as far as I can tell. So the next thing I basically went into after crafting the tier 7 rocket and getting those schematics and stuff from Pluto. So I came back and I started to set up this room. So this room is basically replacing the passive pyros, that passive volcanuses that I used to have below here. And they are still technically there, but I decided I do. Those will probably just stay as they are. I might move the controllers eventually if I'm being impatient or something, but I don't think I'll really use those anymore. So what I got going on here, and I'm not utilizing all of these yet. I basically just got them set up so that I can use them as I need them. But what we got going on here is relatively simple. We got a capacitor, 16 volcanuses, and then these have stocking input buses just from the main network. So in this case, coming in, we got titanium. Over here, this one's tungsten steel. Over here is, what is this one? Oh, yttrium, barium. This guy over here is cosmic neutronium, which I actually have quite a bit. This guy is struggling. I might have to, move. Actually, yeah, let's do it right now. So I didn't expect this to have so much. So we got this one, and then we're going to hop over to this guy. We're going to put Indirium over here. Indirium. Indirium. Indirium dust. Oh, okay. And then what we got? Oh, just neutronium. And then before, for a little bit there, I was using the this guy exclusively just to get ahead on neutronium. And obviously, since I set that up over there, I pulled this out. So yeah. Then the only thing that this one's kind of got different than I had going on before is, since these ones are like 100% just running all the time, there's no pattern, there's nothing. This is not clogging up. These being here are not clogging up the main system at all or blocking the main system from crafting. I basically have these guys outputting directly over into these cryogenic freezers, and then they go back into the main network. Like, basically, dust goes in, ingot comes out, nothing touched in between. As well as, since these are stocking input buses instead of regular input buses, if a pattern, like if I don't have enough currently in the network, say of neutronium, like this being here will not stop it, and the hot ingots out of this thing will not clog the system as well. So did want to bring up one weird issue that I noticed over the weekend though that started happening to me. So it was never a problem before. The way I had this is the cryogenic freezers for the actual like auto crafting network. And so what I had going on before was have the main network with an export bus with a ore dictionary hot ingot, and then it came into an interface, and that worked for me for like months. And for some reason over the weekend, I noticed random import export buses kind of stopped working. All my setups that involved an export bus into an interface stopped working. I was trying to look all around online to see like what might be causing that issue, see if anyone else has experienced it. And I was finding like random like things like a redstone card like being traced back to redstone cards, kind of screwing with the network and stuff like that. I pulled out every redstone card that I remember installing. That seemed to fix it for a little bit, but then it wasn't. I was still having the issue. Like, I was waiting on AutoCraft, and I looked at my network, and I just had like piles of hot ingots. So I'm not really sure what happened. So now instead, I just have it exporting to a chest and importing directly into here. So not really sure what was up with that, but I mean, that does seem to have solved the issue. Just wanted to point it out because that was the thing that happened. And that was most of what I got done over the actual weekend. I didn't get to the cutting machines. I also did not add more. Was it this building? I get my buildings confused. Oh, no, this building. I did not add the other UU Matter multi-blocks yet. I figure I'll set those up on a day where I have more free time going on, or less free time, I should say, because it shouldn't take very long. In theory, I should do it sooner than later, so I'm building up UU Matter, but this had actually dipped quite a bit because for a long time, this craft right here, this UHV circuit, this is off a level maintainer, and it wasn't able to craft for a while there just because I didn't have enough UU Matter. It was kept like bottoming out, so I will say once I do get the other ones built, I'm going to my level maintainers are currently using the crystal processors up to UHV. I will swap them over to the wetware once I know I have a solid base of UU Matter to work with. So then, what I worked on today, you can see on this building right here, I did add a final floor. I don't think this process I added in here is probably going to be the last one I put over in this building, just because now, especially not so much on this computer, but on my laptop, like the lag is starting to get too bad in these two towers, or like all these towers with a ton of processes going on. So it's kind of why I made the top four a little different. Plus, also this is where the rocket launcher is for when it rains. So I figured I'd just put a different top up here. But anyways, what I got going on here is super glue. So up to this point, super glue is actually, I believe it's available all the way back in LUV. Yeah, the relentless glue. Never really felt the need to make it. There are times where specifically graphene is something you can get significantly more from if you use super glue. Like if we were to look at graphene, oh, we can actually get to see a firework because it's going to rain now. There goes. Gone rain. So yeah, if we come over, or if we look up graphene and we look at how to craft it, this is the recipe I was using. 64, 160 seconds. Terrible. The next one up is with super glue, and then there's just kind of like slight variations. I think technically I'd actually swap to, yeah, I'd swap to this one right here, Dequata with graphite, to make it a little faster, because this is 40 seconds. However, with super glue, we can go and an American dope wafer, which we have plenty of this stuff now, so I don't mind using these wafers at all. We can get 512 in 5 seconds, and even faster if my assembler is running at UV now. So like this is we can do, this is for like, we can tons of that. Now, the reason I actually went for it is because I was kind of aimless in deciding on what I wanted to work on next for progress. Reality is I should work towards the UHV energy hatch, but I also kind of wanted to make the space elevator. Now, I don't know if this is, I assume the space elevator at some point is required for progression, just because I don't think I've seen a single like screenshot or image or base tour of a later game GTNH playthrough that didn't include the space elevator. It almost feels kind of like an iconic feeling multi-block to me. Like it's just so, it's very cool looking and imposing. So I decided to start crafting this. However, to make one of the pieces, which I did get crafted right here at the end, it's just, whoa, actually I didn't get it crafted. What is it holding on to? Why is it not crafting? It's a good question. If it's not crafting, I want to get like bogged down. Oh, dang it. 64. Like, man, that kind of sucks because, hold on, I'm going to cancel this craft while we're thinking about it. Cancel this, pull these two out. No, give me my wire car back. This can come over to... This is the wrong floor. Sorry, jerky motions. Hop up to here, which is where I have my single overclocked UHV assembler. Just throw this recipe on this guy. Then also, before I forget, need to pull out the super glue out of here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom. Okay. I just want to make sure this didn't jam up the machine later, and now I can craft that guy. And it should only take a few seconds to craft. So specifically I needed to craft that. You can see to craft this, you specifically need to have super glue for this recipe, 8 buckets worth. So this was holding back being able to craft the space elevator. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, I've pushed off doing it for a while. I might as well get it done. And real quick before we move away from this assembler, I want to show off. I actually got a trophy earlier. I don't know how I didn't unlock this one before, unless it wasn't in the pack before. But I broke this to, interesting. Oh no, well, it's, man, that's goofy on my part. Hold on. Need to cancel this. I actually, I was holding on to the very expensive part of the space elevator where you need like something like 250,000 graphite wire. All right, that should be a lot better. So yeah, we should be all good now. This should just be crafted. Okay, yeah, I'll move away from here. But yeah, when I broke this to change it to an HV input bus because of the graphene dust recipe. Like I said, I went for this because you need a ton of graphene for that recipe. I just moved around there. But as you can see, it needs 9 in this. So I actually had to use the assembly line pattern maker to like even make this pattern and have, because it already has 9 spots, and have the liquid in there. So that was kind of interesting. But I threw this on here, and when I broke it, the weak blood orb gave me a trophy. But I've definitely held the weak blood orb and thrown it and dropped it and picked it up a ton of times. So I don't know why I didn't do that before. But anyways, over to here. This floor, everything on it is basically super glue from front to scratch, or front to end, with the one exception of the catalyst, which there was one that threw me off. I have this orange catalyst in here. You don't actually need it. It's the solid acid. If you look, they look very similar. So a lot of the recipes, I kept thinking it was the orange metal catalyst it was calling for, but it was actually a solid acid. So I spent a little while trying to figure out why this guy wouldn't fire until I realized I made that mistake. But so everything's compacted here. I do have a couple level emitters and stuff going on just to keep this thing not running infinitely, because this essentially, to get super glue, like if we were to like sit here and go through it like step by step, the final step is this heating, which you can see right here. I've got the fluid heater. But before that, it's a chemical plant recipe, to another chemical plant recipe, 2 LCR recipes, a distillation tower, another chemical plant recipe, and so on. So what we got going on here is kind of me compacting everything down. If I ever needed to expand this area, honestly, the only thing that would need to be done, maybe if we need extreme amounts, would be doing a second mega LCR over here. But in reality, I would need 5 more of this guy. I say 5 more. Currently, this thing processes, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate recipes. And you can tell because all of them are fluid input. And just to make myself not go insane trying to remember the recipes, I basically have use different input buses or input hatches, excuse me, for each of them. So even though it's like a quad, like I didn't like change where the things where I just kept the fluids to the recipes so I could easily track what I was doing. Uh, Part of the reason I had put this off, you can call it laziness, but it was because of all the stuff that goes into this guy. And also, since I had previously had problems with this multi-block, but now that I understand how it forms and what each of the different components actually do, I'm not like I actually like this multi-block, except for the fact that it takes up so much space. And in the case of like super glue, where I have technically 6 steps in one of these, to my natural response would be each step to do a separate multi-block, with the exception of chemical reactor ones. And then now this guy just tried to compact it down. Also, fun fact, you can use different blocks for all these base casings, except for you have to leave at least one robust, or at least one of these empty, or else this will not form. As soon as you swap this to a different output bus, which is what I originally had, and I'm actually glad, because the catalyst housing would have thrown me off and eventually jammed up the machine. It will not form if you have, like, this is literally, if you go around the perimeter, the only thing that's not taking up a space. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, all we got going on here is purple network's a sub network, white network's main network. This guy's up here for the auto maintenance hatches, which I have not actually implemented in the rest of this building. All the rest of them are on standard maintenance. You can see, like, has problems and constant issues. And then aside from that, we're pretty channel efficient. Got 23, 18. Originally, all these like quad input buses I had spread out, and then I quickly realized I was going to run into problems. But again, if I were actually like expand and make this go faster, I would set up 5 more of these, and then I would spread all these out into their own individual input buses. But I think for the moment, this should keep up. I did basically utilize a bunch of different level emitters, as well as some of the smaller size fluid cells. I did also go through and fix all the fluid cell recipes to be using the generic any circuits and stuff, so all my cells craft a whole lot faster now than they were before. Yeah. And with this, as soon as I got the super glue, I fixed that graphene recipe to be a bigger one, and then I craft the space elevator cable. Now for tomorrow, because I don't think I'll play again tonight after I log off of here, my plan is to basically just set up the space elevator, see what it's about, and then depending on how long I take on that, and you can see I have all the pieces done. Certainty resolver, I've got the concrete base, blocks. Yeah, like if you look at this guy, I have all the stuff crafted. The only, yeah, no, there's 0 exceptions. All of these are crafted, so I literally just need to set it up. I'm gonna set that up and then see what it's about, and then from there, depending on how long that takes or if it gives me any problems, my next step will just be moving on. I'm going to try to push right for the UHV energy hatches, I think, next up for me. And then next weekend, or just depending on how the week goes, I'll go back to adding more stuff over here, which including the cutting machines and expanding UU matter. But honestly, I don't really feel like working on those right now. So the space elevator, I think my plan is I am going to move my actual space launch stuff from here to, if we look at the map, I actually kind of, oh, it doesn't show up here. That's funny, because I did it on my laptop. So it doesn't show on my map, but I started to construct a pad here. I just have the perimeter. It's nothing fancy. I'm not like, I don't need to fly over and show you, but basically this extends out, and then there's a giant square here where I'm going to set up some AE2, and that'll be where I launch rockets from, so I can stop polluting the land like crazy every time I launch a rocket. And then I think I'm going to throw my first space elevator here, and then if I ever need more in the future, they'll just fall into line with the mass production over there, which I'm sure I'll need more eventually. And yeah, that is basically it for me for today. I don't think I forgot anything. I don't know. I'm sure there was other random little things I did. I know What time are we at? Oh, we're at like 20 minutes. So real quick, I forgot to mention it for the tier 7 rocket. I kind of figured it was self-evident. I did upgrade the specific reason I upgraded these was to make the tier 7 rocket fuel. And then I do have the casings because I have this crafted to make a tier 8 or level 8 of these Exxon Mobil, but I don't need it yet. And yeah, the only like challenge, quote unquote, to getting the tier 7 rocket fuel was crafting these cases, which came from those all those ISA mills we set up the other day. Otherwise, it was literally just a couple of patterns in this guy. So yeah, that is basically it. I think I covered everything. If I didn't, I will mention it tomorrow. And I hope everybody had a good weekend and is staying warm. And I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.